We can just go back 5 years, and we can look at the devastation brought on by Katrina and Rita. We can talk about the fact that it wasn't the citizens in the lower nine fault. It wasn't the citizens in Pontchartrain fault, New Orleans East, Gentilly, Cameron Parish, or Vermilion Parish. About a week and a half ago, and I had the pleasure of being in the wedding of one of my former Little League players, who was almost like a brother to me. And as we were in line to walk down the aisle, he turned to me and he said, "Cedric, I don't know how you do it. Why do you do it?" He said, "They only talk about politicians in a bad way. Every night when I turn on the news, they have something negative to say." And before I could answer him, it was time to start marching. So as I stood in the back waiting to come out and listening to the music of Kermit, I said, well, now's an appropriate time to answer that question. I do it because I love it. I do it because I'm proud to be a public servant. Every day when I wake up and go to Baton Rouge, I have the ability to fight for people who can't drive to Baton Rouge and fight for themselves. I get a chance to fight for people who can't hire big-time lobbyists. I get a chance to fight for people who are wronged by big business all the time. I get a chance to fight for people and tell corporations all the time, don't put profits first, put people first. And as we don't have to look back that far in history to get an understanding of why we do it and why it's so important. We can just go back 5 years and we can look at the devastation brought on by Katrina and Rita. We can talk about the fact that it wasn't the citizens in the lower nine fault. It wasn't the citizens in Pontchartrain Park, New Orleans East, Gentilly, Cameron Parish, or Vermilion Parish. It was the fault of the Corps of Engineers who built faulty levees that breached when the rain hit. But it's government's responsibility to help those people when they're injured through no fault of their own. And to the people that are still not back, we still have people fighting road home, red tape, bureaucracy, insurance companies that are worried about their profits and not about getting people back in the homes that they grew up in, the homes that they bought, in the homes that they love. That's the true sin of Katrina and Rita, that exposed the fact that big business puts profits first and not our constituents. But we don't have to go that far back. We can just go 50, 52 days back. And we can look at the fact that we lost 11 Louisiana citizens in a very unfortunate explosion. But the aftermath of that explosion and the simple fact that BP can't cap the well threatens our way of life. That destruction could cost us 20 to 30 years of economic development. Is unacceptable, and we have to stand up and say, big business, we will not let you continue to do this and wreck our way of life. But I have to just digress just for a moment and go back to Katrina, because I think this is the best illustration of what we deal with. In New Orleans East, there was a business that reaped over $200 million in insurance proceeds, that took those proceeds and left town, and left the community without a hospital. That's unacceptable, it's wrong, and that's why we do what we do. And I will tell you, in Louisiana right now, we are facing a critical moment. We have a governor that every chance he gets, he says, federal government, we don't need any help. I know that you all are going to build a high-speed line from California to Florida, but we don't need it in Louisiana. I know that you're sending us this stimulus money, but we don't need it. I know that you are sending us extra money for unemployment compensation, but for some reason, we don't need it. In Louisiana, we're the least educated, poorest state in the Union. We have the highest incarceration rate, but at the same time, we have the highest crime rate. I'm proud to be the voice of common sense in the state legislature. We're not doing it right. We can keep focusing on locking people up. At the same time, we ignore our education, we ignore after-school programs, and we ignore all the things that help parents provide for their children. So I know I stand here at a critical moment. And I know that we stand here at a critical moment. And I know that my staff, who's great, absolutely hates when I just decide to change the script. So I will start to read and look at my speech. But I thought that I would answer that question, because it's what makes us wake up every day and do what we do. It's because we have to fight for people, because people fought for me for a very long time. So I stand here today at a most critical moment, with millions of gallons of oil destroying our coast, our wildlife, and our fisheries, and our very existence. I stand here today at a most critical moment, with crime terrorizing our streets and holding our families hostage to thugs and gangsters, where too many of our young people take pride in resting in peace rather than living in peace. I stand here today at a most critical moment. Hurricane season is once again upon us. We still lack Category 5 levee protection, and now the water that threatens us is full of toxic sludge, courtesy of BP. I stand here today at a most critical moment, as we in Louisiana rank last in education, last in access to health care, but first in poverty and first in incarceration. And I know we all stand here tonight and had to fight terrible weather to get here at this critical moment, because we can no longer tolerate weak leadership. Leadership that is afraid to stand up to Sarah Palin and the Republican Party. We need a congressman with the courage to put people over politics. We're all here today because we believe that our better days are ahead of us. And if after over 3 decades the Saints can win the Super Bowl, we can surely create a world-class region. Speaking of courage and good leaders, I want to thank Chief Lawson for doing the introduction and being a friend. Thank you for all that you do, Chief. And I want to thank Virginia Boulay, who is serving as our Mistress of Ceremony and who is a phenomenal support. And I just want to say that she was with Barack before President Obama was with President Obama. So thank you, Virginia, for all that you do. You, Russell Henderson, and James Gray, you were the trio that carried him over the top in Louisiana, or at least Orleans Parish. I also want to thank the ministers and clergy for being out here tonight, and I will tell you that I have an amazing young pastor that is working very diligently to save the lives of people that society is throwing away. And that's his mission. He's talented at it, and I am blessed, privileged, and lucky to be a member of Spirit and Truth. So thank you, Pastor, for being here. I also want to thank the many elected officials that are here, especially the ones who served with me in the Louisiana legislature, because I know that you all had to leave work a little early. And that is tough when we're not there to provide parental supervision for this administration. But thank you for fighting the weather and being here with me tonight. And I want to thank my mom. Where is she? Mom, can you raise your hand? I want to thank my mom. And for people who know me, my mom is not only my role model, but she's my #1 fan, and my number 1, 2, and 3 critic. So thank you, Mom, for being here. And my brother Sidney, who came in from Dallas for today, who's my older brother and provided a great example and talked me into going to Benjamin Franklin High School, and I still owe you one for that, Sidney. But let me go back to my mom for a minute. Because my mother showed me a long time ago. In fact, it was when our father died at the age of 7. My mother showed me what courage really was. She showed me that she was going to provide for our family no matter what. That she was going to still instill in us the core values that this country is built upon. And that she was going to make sure that my brother and I had every